Hey guys, it's CL, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I make brand new Critical Role recaps every Monday at noon, and would be happy to have you join the party. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe and hit the Bertrand bell to be notified of future videos. Now, without further ado, let's discuss the 36th episode of Campaign 3 of Critical Role. My heart is so full, you guys, but before I gush too much, let's get into the recap. Bell's Hells arrive in the beautiful, sprawling Taldore morning of Whitestone. Keyleth leading their way through the sun tree, Chetney is enamored by the amount of wood, and Imogen is paused thinking about how her friend had her entire life change on the tree above their heads. The voice of the Tempest lead the group up to the Castle Whitestone to seek a way to bring back our departed spooky girl. They meet with the riflemen and their leader, Captain Kynan Leor. It's so cool to see this little throwback moment that we weren't really expecting. Like, yes, I had a feeling we'd meet a member or two of Vox Machina, but Kynan? If you don't remember him, Kynan is the young blonde teenager that sat outside Greyskull Keep and was a big fan of Vox Machina and what they'd been doing in the world. However, Vax got a little trigger happy and nearly killed the boy since they didn't know he was there and figured he may be a villain. But I'm happy to see the now 40-something-year-old man as a distinguished part of Whitestone's guard. Keyleth requests a meeting with anyone around currently that's part of Council Whitestone. Kynan mutters that Cassandra Derolo is somewhere in Aragorn and that the Lord of the House should be around in his office. Anxious nerves, anxious nerves. On the way there, Orym notices they may be being followed while the rest of Bell's Hells update Keyleth on literally every plot point we've had so far, including the Nightmare King, the Moon, and the two forgotten deities that surfaced in Vasselheim. She says that she'll check into it, but apologizes, getting a call that she needs to help take care of a rogue faction in Asilra, explaining that many people are trying dangerous rituals for the upcoming solstice. It's not just Odohan. Percival Derolo welcomes them in, and we say goodbye to Keyleth. It turns out the shadow that had been following them was a red-skinned tiefling girl named Gwendolyn, the youngest child of the Derolos, who has a penchant for sneaking around. Percy welcomes her to read a book while the adults discuss what brought them here, and I kinda wish it had gone better. Ashton unwraps Laudna, causing the Lord of Whitestone's brow to twitch. He can tell she's been touched by Delilah Briarwood. And after some bad rolls from Liam, as Orym tries to help request saving her life, he decided to leave it in the hands of Pike Trickfoot. Ashley's grin as he summons her to the castle just made my heart so warm. Chetney and Percy bond over the craftsmanship of his clock tower, as they make their way out of the foyer to wait for Pike. Percy even saying he'd consider using the gnome's expertise in the future should it require woodworking. After Chetney gives his daughter Gwendolyn a little rocking wolf, which she names Galdrick, I wonder if Pervon's wolf friend is still out there kicking it in the Parchwood. However, coming in from the Parchwood is Wolf and Leona Derolo, as well as the Lady of Whitestone herself, vex'ahlia. As Pike joins them from her work at the Slayer's Cake, Bell's Hells reveal Laudna to them, and Vex, seeing her tree duplicate, wants to help them. She feels like they owe Laudna, because it's their fault that she ended up on the Sun Tree. Vex pleads with her husband, which he finally agrees, and they retrieve the proper jewels for Pike to begin the resurrection. However, she's startled and jumps back. There are two souls attached to this body, and Delilah Briarwood is one of them. Percy stops this from going further and turns and begins to head upstairs, and we get this awesome moment with Talison's two characters yelling at each other in Castle Whitestone. He can't risk Delilah getting back into the world. Truer things have been said when the phrase, "Wouldn't you do it for your friends?" enter the fray. I mean, look at Percy's daughter. She is a result from his pact with Ibkesh, that pact that he was willing to trade in his soul for an eternity to save Vax. Pike thinks she might have a spell that can help them figure out how to get Laudna back, and the Hells alongside vex'ahlia head to the Trickfoot home and begin a ritual that will allow Bell's Hells to travel to the plane where she's being kept from moving on, and will hopefully be able to sever her tie with Delilah permanently. We finally find out that FCG has a soul, Pike reassuring them that there's already a deity sort of watching over them, the Changebringer. Hopefully that brings Letters some closure in who he is and will stop comparing themselves so harshly to folks with souls, as he'd call them. Pike begins the ritual, and we get to see their glowy insides in action as everyone appears in this strange, smoky dimension. Bell's Hells begin their search for their friend and traverse from slightly walky cliffside edges to a very pointy forest made of stone or wood, they aren't exactly sure. But we do find a cabin out in the middle of nowhere, a glowing flame visible through the glass. Laudna's essence is sitting at a table, working on pate in his possible formation as Chetney sneaks up to get a better look. But the essence fades as they hear voices. A witch hunt setting the cabin aflame, forcing out our favorite spooky girl. It was a heartbreaking look into the past of what she had to deal with. People are so judgy. Yuck. The voices form into actual beings though, becoming cloaked, dementor-like creatures that eat the shit out of Chetney's essence. But luckily they're able to defeat the three wraiths and search the partially damaged shack thoroughly. They find a secret passage below the floorboards and follow it. The end of the tunnel, a strange upside down via Stranger Things version of Whitestone. What did you guys think of the episode? I'm really excited to get this new point of view on the 30 years Laudna spent alone fleeing from pitchforkers before she found her home with the Hells. Do we think this is her memory that we're trapped in? Or is this just a strange domain where Delilah has imagined herself a pocket dimension where she's still Lady of Whitestone? What did you think about seeing the Lord and Lady of Whitestone? And Pike. Weirdly, I think Pike was the one who made me most emotional. She was such a ray of sunshine, and I always looked forward to seeing Ashley Johnson when she would visit from Blind Spot. What did you think of Matt's voices for them? It made me giddy when we'd hear vex'ahlia go, "Darling." Is it just me, or is Percy a total jerk? I understand where he's coming from, but I guess it's true what they say, that the best people you know are always assholes. It was also really cool to see some of the Derolos children. I hope we get to see Vesper and Vax'ildan and what they're like when the Hells return from saving Laudna. Where do you guys think Scanlan and Grog are? I do kind of hope we see them, just to check in and make sure they're alright, but that's a lot of NPCs to have to maneuver. I completely understand why Keyleth had to make a convenient exit before we met with the Lord of Whitestone. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like the video, and don't forget to subscribe. Check out my other recaps of Campaign 3 on my channel, or my album Scorpio. It's streaming everywhere. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there. Good day, my friends.